I really need to stop calling things Westerns. It's just putting my foot in my mouth at this point. There are three forces who want the contest dead. Those who say that the contest is too woke, those who say that the contest is not woke enough, and those who say that the contest is just trash. And if all three found out about each other, the contest probably won't survive. But guess what? I'm joining the war on Eurovision. On the side of Eurovision.
Hello, this is J.E. Realize. Thank you for flying with us today.
Okay, jokes aside, I have a feeling this is gonna be another long Eurovision Grand Final video, so this will probably be split into multiple parts. I say multiple just in case. But first I should kinda sorta talk about the semifinal qualifiers. I recorded my thoughts on the qualifiers shortly after seeing them and shortly before the contest started. I wanted to keep those ideas fresh in my mind. But looking back on them, I'm not entirely confident in my rankings, and that's why I held off on putting up my rankings this time. Except you'll hear me mention a few things about qualifiers and non-qualifiers. That's the most I'm generally going to cover this time. My brain just seems a little too foggy to go into the entire breakdown with confidence. I want to believe I know what songs are my favorite songs this year, but I can't say so with certainty. And since the contest has come and gone and I've seen the results, I can't really form a new opinion after all that bias. So yeah, with that, we get into the first semifinal. Cue the past clip. These are my thoughts on the qualifiers for the first semifinal. We have quite a bit to go through, but I guess let's start with a few rule changes for this year's contest. I forgot to put my jacket on. For this year's contest, we're going to have, ahead of each qualification announcement, focus by the cameras on 3 countries yet to be announced for qualification, with the list of countries alternating so everyone gets a little bit of light, with the final announcement showing all the countries that have yet to qualify waiting with bated breath. On the surface, this isn't a terrible idea. I do like the idea of capturing the suspense and the exact moment when the performer's eyes light up at the announcement of their qualification. But there are 2 things. One is, ironically, they didn't really do that for the last announcement. They showed pictures of each of the performers alternating, then focused back on the announcers, and we just had to wait until the announcement of the last country for us to see a reaction, which sucked. That was the one thing in 2024 I wish they would have stayed true to. But it bugs me for other reasons too. It's leaning into this singing show shtick, which, no, Eurovision, stay true to yourself. And 2, it kind of ruins things when you're not being focused on by the cameras. And I know that sometimes the cameras can't afford to capture all the people at the same time. But don't make it this obvious that you're not being focused on. Either have enough cameras to capture all the contestants' faces. I know this is gonna be a little cacophonous because that's a lot, especially at the beginning. Or don't do it at all. Just stick to the regular stuff until the very end. But yeah, we'll give this system a try. First up, we focus on Norway, Estonia, and Iceland. And the first one to qualify is Norway. Kind of unexpected, I'll admit, but you know, nice solid dance number. Then we get glimpses of Ukraine, Albania, and Poland. And second up to qualify is Albania. Well, that's interesting. Well, I guess singing in the Albanian language is just the sure key to success, people. Well, at least for the modern day. It's not the worst loss. I can afford to NQ Ukraine in order to advance Albania. Next up, we focus on Belgium, Cyprus, and Sweden, and this is really good, okay? We got Belgium, which is in my top 5, like a solid top 5. We got Cyprus, which is not that far behind, and we got Sweden, which I don't really care for. Guess who gets advanced? The answer is Sweden? Wait, really? Sweden? You mean the jury bait country Sweden? They get in with this? This is almost barbaric. Like, this is just a slap to the face. Like, I mean, there are worse entries, but this just feels so unserious. Like, really? I would have been fine if this was the slap in the face that Sweden needed to try harder. And yet, no? I thought we all needed to slap Sweden in the face for doing all this jury bait stuff, but yeah, apparently people are just gonna hold off for now, for some reason. Now? Next up, cameras on Portugal, San Marino, and Iceland. Okay, this is really interesting. And the one who gets qualified is Iceland. Okay, sure. But this is not great because we're 4 qualifiers in and I have yet to hear the name of anyone in my top 5. Like, anyone in my top 5. But next up we get Estonia again, Netherlands, and Azerbaijan to see which one of them gets the advancement. And this time it's Netherlands. Huh. Interesting. Netherlands along with Portugal are 2 of the countries that I didn't expect to put in my top 5, much less in the lead, but Netherlands is in, I guess. Rather solid performance, so we'll see what happens from there. Just need 4 more of my top 5 to qualify, and there are only 5 qualification spots. This is not great. I mean, there were some qualifiers in the lower half of my top 10 that got some good news, but this is just odd. Next up, we focus on Cyprus, Croatia, and Poland. 2 of these are in my top 10, but neither of which are in my top 5, and Poland is not in my top 10. And the announcement goes to Poland? Really? Like, the performance is cool and all, but the song is just basically blah. This is already not great. Like, really not great. I'm already getting flashbacks to Semifinal 2 of 2024. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to repeat that. Please, can we hit a Grand Slam now? Can we get all sluggers? I would love that. Who's next on my roster? We got Slovenia, we got Ukraine, and we got San Marino. Okay, this is promising. And then the hosts start their announcement. It goes to, and then for a brief moment, I think, wow, it's Slovenia. All right, finally, my original favorite. And then they finish the sentence. And Marino! Wait, really? No, you did not just do that. You would not advance 11-11, but you would advance such obvious Italian fan wank. Are you really that tone deaf? This means I have to mill 1 of my top 5. Again, PTSD. I think that's the reason why I'm dissociating through life. This is not good. There's still hope, but this is a very snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Sort of Hail Mary full of grace. We'll just see what happens next. Next 3 to focus on are Estonia, Croatia, and Belgium. And here's to show you how the having the cameras hover over 3 at a time system doesn't really work. We have 8 entries yet to be announced and we're focusing on only 3. That's not great, and especially if you hadn't had your camera focus on 8 and you don't have it on 9, that is especially damning. But hey, we got a good list. Belgium, they have a good shot, right? They did not get the qualification. Okay, Croatia, I'm not particularly a fan of the song, but they're still in my top 10. No, the answer is Estonia. I wish I could apologize to all the fans of Espresso Macchiato, but I cannot in due conscience do that. I thought, okay, let them have their fun. They can get it all out of their system by the time Estonia gets NQ'd. But somehow, Not only do Estonia qualify, they also get the coveted 8th qualification spot, which means they're a fan favorite! And of course, while this is no particular order, or as they say, random order, kinda disingenuous, because historically, the third to last announcement is quite coveted due to how well those who advance out of the third from last qualification announcement do in the grand final. And Estonia... oh no. Like, Estonia's insulting my intelligence. San Marino's insulting my intelligence. Albania, not so much, but okay. Sweden and Poland... oh, goodness. Lordy, lordy, hard rock, hallelujah. We're only 8 songs in, and my bottom 5, my NQ5, have all advanced. All of them. I cannot be any more irritated. In fact, I would show you my reaction to finding out the news, but there was a mariachi band playing earlier. Yeah, that was not really doable. This is a joke. 2025 is a joke. It already started off as a joke, but it insists on being a joke all the way through. I'm still waiting for the punchline of losing voting rights and citizenship. Just give it to me. It's better than dealing with this nonsense. You have to just kick me out to put me in a Salvadorian prison already. You're just letting me bleed out at this point. Stop the pain. But a brief respite. Thank goodness. The cameras focus on Portugal, Azerbaijan, and Slovenia. They're all in my top 5. This is good, which means I get one more. And the one that qualifies is Portugal. If you had asked me at the beginning of semifinal 1, I wouldn't have really focused that much on Portugal. I would have focused on the other 2, but okay, I guess. This is just so weird. This is such a bizarre Eurovision. That leaves us finally Slovenia, Ukraine, Belgium, Azerbaijan, Croatia, and Cyprus. This is not great. So many favorite songs just about to get the X. I'm willing to deal with losing Croatia. I'm willing to deal with losing Cyprus. Heck, I'm willing to advance anyone that isn't Ukraine. Guess who is announced last? Both Sweden and Ukraine, who I figured as throwing the contest and not willing to take them seriously, have advanced. Like, if you want to accuse Ukraine of being political in any song contest, here you go. Go ahead. Go nuts. This is an absolute blow. The only thing that would make this worse is if none of my top 5 advance. Like, sure, I get Croatia and Cyprus, but what sort of consolation is that? Not only is this the lowest I've ever placed, I got the worst possible score on a per semifinal qualifier basis, when all of my NQs get in to the grand final from one semifinal. That is the worst I can do. That is not great. That is not fun. I do not wish to repeat it. It sucks. It hurts. It makes me afraid of semifinal 2. Then again, it's kind of an opportunity. If the semifinal ended this badly, then maybe Denmark won't get into the grand final. Then again, that means a lot of my top 5 in semifinal 2 won't get into the grand final by default. But maybe there's a chance. But for now, this sucks. This is entirely abhorrent and makes me lose my faith in all of Mick Foley, not just Mankind, but all of Mick Foley. That's a joke here. I'm not just thoroughly pissed, I am Henry David thoroughly pissed. This is not great. The semifinal 2 needs to end on a high note. No, several high notes. Why am I just saying one? Wow, I was pretty livid back then. Nothing against the qualifiers, particularly Estonia, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time compared to a lot of the other entries. But let's not worry about Estonia, let's worry about Latvia, or rather, let's worry about the second semifinal qualifiers. Time to go over the results of the second semifinal. Were they as bad as the first semifinal? Well, we'll find out. Let's just first go into what had happened. We're still doing the whole 3 cameras trained at one time sort of thing. It's just I don't know how else. It's just inadvisable. First 3 countries for contention are Luxembourg, Australia, and Lithuania. The first country to get in is Lithuania. That is an interesting choice. Ultimately, Lithuania placed kind of outside of my qualifiers list, but I don't hate it. I'm kind of looking forward to listening to it again. Same thing with Albania. But you know, the first up seems to disappoint me these days. It's just kind of sad. Second up is between Israel, Czechia, and Montenegro. Well, Montenegro's not getting in. Israel's definitely getting in. But would Israel be announced second? They're announced second. They're also getting in. Next up, we're waiting on Armenia, Serbia, and Malta, who will advance. And the third one up is Armenia. All right. That's really good. That's really awesome. Okay, fourth up, we have Denmark, Ireland, and Latvia to determine. We'll see what happens. Denmark up this early. I'm really not enthused about Latvia. I kinda like Denmark, but I'm kinda not sure if I want Denmark to advance. But fourth up to advance is Denmark. Okay, I'm conflicted about this. On the one hand, it's a really solid song, even though I ultimately placed it outside my top 5 in the semifinal. But at the same time, this means that Denmark is not going to be as desperate to take new Danish residents, which is gonna suck. Fifth up, we have Malta, Austria, and Greece to determine who advances. And the spot goes to Austria, which is really good, really solid opera song. The sixth spot is contested between Ireland, Serbia, and Luxembourg. It's interesting. I think there's one country that hasn't been on camera yet. That's just the nature of the beast, but it's sad. And yeah, I'm not entirely enthused of these being my only 3 choices, but I'd take either of them at this point. And it goes to Luxembourg. Well, so long as Luxembourg doesn't leave. It's just sad that we're relying on pettiness to keep people in the contest. Seventh up is contested between Finland, Czechia, and Georgia. Oh, it took you long enough, Georgia. And I'm thinking, Finland seems like a really popular song. Would it really qualify here? Would it not be saved later? Maybe for the 8th spot or maybe for the last spot? I could take Czechia in. And the answer is Finland gets the spot. They get 7th. Well, to be honest, it's not a hard and fast rule. You can subvert it. But let's move on to number 8. The spot is contested against Latvia, Australia, and Greece. And yeah, I would be fine with Australia taking it in this contest. Maybe even Greece. They're not great choices, but they certainly beat Latvia. The 8th choice goes to Latvia. Latvia gets the coveted 8th qualification spot. Latvia! Latvia! Like, I don't see how in any universe this deserves to qualify. Okay, let's review what we have so far. First off, we're not getting a situation in which Ireland, Australia, and Malta all advance to the grand final after that stunt, which means we'll have to keep waiting. But meanwhile, my top 6 is all set except for Czechia, which placed 2nd on my list only barely. If it's gonna come down to the end, goodness sake. 9th up is Malta, Montenegro, and Georgia. And I don't see either Montenegro and Georgia getting the position. So, Malta, I guess, reluctantly, Malta gets in. Don't worry about it. That was just kind of weird how everything just ended like that. Now we have Australia, Montenegro, Ireland, Greece, Georgia, Czechia, and Serbia to be waiting on. My ideal choice is Czechia, though I would reluctantly take Serbia, Ireland, maybe Australia, certainly not Georgia or Montenegro. And the 10th choice up is Greece. You know, I don't know whether to be more mad about this decision or less mad about this decision. Because on the one hand, Greece's song is not a bad song. I just keep forgetting about it. But also, Onero Mu didn't get in 2018. And also, this leaves Czechia in the cold. I mean, Czechia, after 10 years, they get this. Australia, well, they kind of got what's coming for them. They're also NQ'd. Ireland's and Georgia's qualifications last year were for naught. However, Latvia is the one of the three that you decide to give another qualification? Let's take a look at the rest of the list. Montenegro is just gonna quit. Like, again. Such drama queens. Serbia, I don't know if they'll follow. Like, it's not Serbia's fault. It was an awesome song and they deserved better. Ireland, along with Australia, they had real good songs, but it was up in the air on whether they deserved to make it. But dag, nab, like, I would do one trade on this contest, as opposed to the first contest. That I would overhaul the entire damn list. I mean, how many Balkan entries did we get? Wait, did all the former Yugoslav entries get eliminated? We lost Slovenia, we lost Croatia, we lost Serbia, we lost Montenegro. All the Nordic countries did get in for the first time in a while. I think it was a decade since last time this happened. Netherlands and Luxembourg are in the contest, but Belgium is not. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are together in the contest too. Armenia is in, while Azerbaijan and Georgia are not. But while the first semifinals just sucked so much and kind of felt they were pandering at times, the second semifinal is mostly good with a few bad bits in there. I remember there was this one person who wanted espresso macchiato from Estonia to advance, and I didn't pay attention because I thought, it's gonna be eliminated, you didn't watch the show. I mean, I told you that Iceland had that Minecraft aesthetic, and you were like, huh, that's weird. But somehow, Espresso Macchiato got in, and I can't help but be angry, not just at that, but also at you. Am I the one out of touch? No, because music is subjective, and I know what I like. And also, Eurovision has been making a lot of questionable decisions anyway, and so has the public. I mean, if we're not careful, Eurovision is going to backslide. It is going to backslide if we give it the chance. But yeah, I'm off to watch the grand final. It's, 3 minutes away. I really need to get started. I know who the qualifiers are, and I'm not going to be pleased about some of them, but I'm going to start anyway. Okay, with that finally done, let's get into the grand final. And oh boy, was I tired for this one. Turns out having 3 big shows in 1 week can take a lot out for someone who isn't ready for it. But yeah, we open up the grand final with the hosts panicking because not everything is ready. They're still waiting on the trophy. I mean, they're Swiss. How could they goof this up? But yeah, the next 5 minutes, we get these stunts people posing as delivery people go on this relay race through all the Swiss stuff, through all the Swiss sports, as they're carrying the trophy, and a dozen Eurovision Song Contest cameos come about. A lot of different Eurovision songs, because of course, this is the Eurovision Song Contest. And then finally, after all that work, the trophy arrives, put up on that pedestal. I will be loving you more. Hold off, Nemo. Don't touch. Nemo goes on down and performs their winning song. Yeah, in a nice dress. And then we get our hosts, plus bonus host. Our bonus host being Michelle Hunziker. Welcome then. After we get our hosts going on, it's time for the running order. It's time to have all the acts perform. I won't be talking about acts that I previously talked about unless I want to point something out, okay? Okay. The first one up is Norway. Thank goodness. I swear, honestly, so many of my favorite songs just end up first in the running order. It's just hard to deal with. Norway, I like well enough, but it's not really that high up. Second up, in the infamous death spot from which nobody has ever won, is Luxembourg. Then we get Estonia, Israel, Lithuania, and now we're on to Spain. Spain is presented by Melody, as in melody with a Y, as in the English melody, with essa diva. I do have clips of my past self talking about these performances, as they're less spoiled than compared to what I think of them now, because I kind of sort of know the results. But let's go on to our past self, hoping that the recordings don't get bunged up. You're good to go. Another Benidorm knockout. I mean the song, Europe. The song! The song kind of starts rather like, you know, just her, and then it goes into this pop number, which is honestly really well done. Modern Latin pop number. I know Spanish, but I don't really need to tell you what this song is about. At least I don't think. It's about being self-confident. And you could tell she is confident. She goes in there. The choreography is pretty solid. Like, everything is a full package number, which makes me especially afraid that this song is gonna do poorly. It's not as bad as Thora from last year or Aia from the year before that. But is it quite slow-mo? It's its own thing, for certain. But can it be its own legacy, the way slow-mo was its own legacy? If it were me, I would probably push this thing toward the top 10, if not into it. Like, it's quality. But you know what they say about Spanish entries. They're so overrated, and then they disappoint at the very end with their score. I mean, sometimes they deserve the low score, but in this case, it would suck if Spain didn't do that well. I guess we'll find out what happens next. Before I go on, I had previously talked about the running order, but OBS didn't record for some reason. I hit the start recording button, it just didn't. Now I have to do it again. This is not fun. 7th up is Ukraine. And I want to mention that bird of prey, in this instance, it's spelled P-R-A-Y, which is not at all how we do it in the English language. It's bird of prey, P-R-E-Y. That's the common phrase. Like, we don't really have a bird of prayer phrase. That is really bizarre. Like, I thought it was the P-R-E-Y variant. And then after that, we get the United Kingdom. We get Remember Monday. Oh, I certainly did when I got the CD. With the song What the Hell Just Happened? And oh boy, I guess saying hell is just vogue for a family show now, along with Damn, Perkele, and whatever that Latvian said in Cake to Bake. But let's move on to the act that has a chandelier that an autistic person that not everyone approves of would approve of. This comes off as next day hangover after a big party, and for good reason. That's the entire story. A party gone overwhelmingly mad, and they're just picking up the pieces. Like, seriously, what the hell just happened? No clue, but I can't really hate this song. Even though it's not my cup of whatever tea they're drinking after all of this, I think it's quite an interesting experiment to try. All these tempo shifts here and there, going up and down, up and down. It's a very modern sounding song. Maybe it'll have a shot on the radio, maybe it won't. But you can't really argue that it's not modern. The real question is, will the public be receptive of it? And honestly, I think the UK needs to continue what they are doing, at the very least, because it certainly beats what they were doing through the 2000s and 2010s. Like, they're really embracing the modern pop showcase aspect of Eurovision, even though it's kind of hindering them. Like, have they ever really understood Eurovision? Like, some people would say, oh, it was the 1980s where everything went wrong. Oh, it was everything after 1977 or something like that. I would say it's all the way de la capa, from the beginning. Like, they entered in 1957, they got dunked on, they came back in 1959, they found out what works, and they just clinged to it with dear life. Kind of disappointing, but I prefer this direction more than whatever the UK had been doing for a while. Maybe one day they'll get better. Maybe one day they'll finally be that juggernaut we always imagined the UK to be, and not just because they are one of the few countries that can sing English and just cater to their audience really well back in the day. Maybe they can be authentically self-good. Then we have Austria, Iceland, Latvia, Netherlands. What is with the producers? That early start, I'm just wondering what is going on. There's no music. We're just stuck on Claude's face. This is really concerning to me. This has happened in the semifinal too. Well, semifinal 1, but this has also happened in the semifinal. Then we get Finland, which there was one feature I forgot to mention about the stage because I didn't pay it much mind. But they got light up cubes behind the LED wall. And that combined with the 80s sounding song that Ich Komme is, kind of makes this feel like it's Eurovision 1983 instead of 2025. I just find that hilarious to mention. Then we get the hosts presenting the official Eurovision CDs and DVDs, and that makes me feel old. It wouldn't be so bad if we moved on to minidisc, or basically any physical format that's not CD, but no, CD is the last major physical format before we moved on to streaming. No DVD audio, no Blu-ray audio, no mini versions thereof for audio, no minidisc, no data play, not even like one of those SD music cards that were proposed, nothing. We are just left with the hosts laughing at the people who buy physical albums. Except for LPs, because that one is cool. And then we get Italy with Lucio Corsi and the song Volevo essere un duro. Of course, they said in an Italian language song. I wouldn't really accuse them of being Switzerland suck-ups. I would, in fact, accuse Germany more of being a Switzerland suck-up than Italy, in fact. We also got captions, like full captions, just there for the entire song. Okay, that's interesting. On the one hand, you can understand the song now, but on the other hand, they do kind of distract from, you know, the performance in some ways. I thought you were supposed to listen to the song and watch the performance. Now you're reading? Yeah, I'm conflicted. I don't know whether I stand one or the other. But yeah, I was originally going to write this song off, say Italy was overrated. A lot of people were overrating it recently. But then I stopped to think. Two things. One, I gave a chance on Portugal, and Portugal exceeded my expectations. And two, this song does speak to me if I bother to understand the song. I used to have a devil may care attitude. The song is about, you know, life is tough and makes you want to be tough against the world, but it's hard. It really is hard. And I was thinking about my devil may care attitude. Like, I didn't try. Like, I didn't insist I had to be hard like Lucio was, that I had to hold tight against the tough world, but dang, okay. Although, all that being said, it's cheating that I know what the song is about. Like, I don't know what the Albanian song is about. I can only guess the Polish song is about dragons, and who knows what the San Marinese song is about. But yeah, Italy. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be rooting that hard for it in public, but yeah, it's a nice, light song, reflective, makes me think of life. I think I need more of those in my diet. Can't just have pop, you know, music is not fireworks, that sort of thing. After Italy, we get Poland, and then performing in the infamous 16th spot, from which no one has won from there either, is Germany. God help their souls. Germany has sent in, oh goodness sake, a German language song? I did not have that on my bingo card. It's almost as unlikely as Sweden sending in a Swedish language song. But yeah, we did. Abor and Tina with the song Baller, or Baller, I guess. And this song really is baller. Seriously, Germany did something right here. Germany, like the UK has been struggling with competing in the contest. There had been eras in which they were flying rather high, but recently they had been really struggling. I mean, last year they did get onto the left-hand side of the leaderboard, but that was kind of sort of a fluke. But this song, I have such high hopes for this song. If Germany needed something modern to compete in Eurovision, then they got us that. The nightclub scene. Like, Germany isn't just Germany when it comes to releasing German language songs. German language songs aren't restricted to just Germany when it comes to appeal. There's the DACH region. Deutschland, Österreich, Confederation Helvetica. Germany, Austria, Switzerland. Often a German language song caters to all three. And this is exactly what I would expect of Germany to stay on top. Like, the nightclub scene. Yes, German has a lot of genres within itself. I mean, it's kind of unfair to call German a genre of genres, but there it is. A lot of people give flack for German not being the most eloquent language to sing, but it's got a lot of potential. It's got a lot of ways in which you could make it work, in which a lot of people would love it. I mean, trying to make a French ballad but in German is not gonna work. But dance music, like underground nightclub music like this is exactly within Germany's ballpark. This is exactly the shot in the arm that Germany has been counting on. Of course I'm hopeful that they're gonna do really well in this contest. I mean, you have the whole light up string instrument thing. It does not distract, it fits well. I am kind of worried that this ends up like Halo, the Austrian song from 2022. It really shouldn't. And I honestly feel, from a vocal standpoint, this song is more sound. It's certainly more memorable, it's certainly more catchy. It's got quite the future. It's just a question if other people feel the same. Then after Germany, we get Greece, then Armenia, then Switzerland. Switzerland sent us, wait, is that Carmen Cortez? No, silly me. It's Zoe Me with the song Voyage. And it's a sweet enough song. It has this part at the third act where things get all frantic. And then it eases, as if we're on a ship going through originally pretty calm waters, then stormy waters, and then it makes it to its destination. Way to go! You have a Titanic metaphor, except anyway. The song is okay, but I can't really say much more about it because I think it was designed to fail. Like, this is a nice, sweet song, but it's gonna get lost in the competition. It's French because it had to be for some reason. But that's secondary. Like, don't you remember back in the Swiss national final days? Like, I remember 2016, 17, 18. I saw them and I thought, a lot of these songs, they're fine, but are they gonna do well? And they generally don't do well if they do make it to the contest. Honestly, it makes me feel we're back in that era. Switzerland already won. It proved itself. And, I mean, they proved themselves. And now they're gonna step back and just throw the contest. And this is the perfect song to throw with. It just goes to show you, even the Swiss are afraid of hosting the contest again, I guess. But yeah, not a bad song, just against the automatic qualifiers. Even they would probably be better than this song. Then after Switzerland, we get Malta, then Portugal, then Denmark, then Sweden. And it's about time I mentioned the second stage being used for the grand final. Yeah, it's a stadium. You have this second stadium, you have these hosts presenting in the second stadium with their own interval acts. They do a little Waterloo thing because Sweden just happened. And then they go on talking before the producers cut them off in the most brutal fashion. But as for the stadium, I'm conflicted about this. On the one hand, that's a good way to get a lot of Eurovision fans packed into the space to enjoy the contest effectively. And you get some money off of it. And it also avoids the problem of having a not-so-packed arena for the jury semifinals and family show semifinals. I mean, I don't know if there are still jury show semifinals. I guess they're still there just in case. But on the other hand, it just kind of seems wrong. One of the things that Eurovision relies on is sending the energy of the audience to the television set. And if a lot of the audience is somewhere else that isn't recorded on television, that's kind of hard to do. And also just seems like a cop-out from bothering to source a larger arena or size an arena up for the contest. But, yeah, cheapening the contest in a way that the audience will notice, I'm not too much a fan, as I'll tell you later on. But then, who's going to join the Sweden sandwich with Denmark? Why, it's France in the 24th position. France sent in a French song. Obviously, we're in Switzerland, they would have it no other way. But specifically, Luan with the song Maman. And immediately, there are quite a few things I have to say. Like, for instance, sand! But not so much Denmark 2024, but rather, Growing Up is Getting Old. Remember that song, Bulgaria 2021? It feels like a crossover between that song and voila, France's song in 2021, which is quite fitting, melding together two legends. Well, one more than the other one being voila. This is a classic, simple meal done well song, and it seems that France is just leaning on this tactic, and it's working well. Maybe France becomes the next Italy with this tactic, but we'll have to see. Like, I don't know if France is going to win a contest soon, but at the very least, they're trying. From 2016 onward, it seems that they are trying. They are legit trying, and this is just another notch on the cap. Anyway, this song is about mom, apparently. But hey, Mother's Day. I mean, we missed Mother's Day, but Eurovision, you know, pretty close to Mother's Day, which is kind of weird when you think about it. We don't have a lot of mom songs. I mean, we do have some, but I don't know. I don't really think about them as much as the obvious Earth Day songs and that sort of stuff. I mean, there were quite a few other moments that I noticed, like for instance when Luan was just scraping away the sand to reveal a reflection. Ugh, that grating on my teeth. That is not great. Also, that final bit where after she was going through the weird maman, maman, maman sort of thing, we got back into the proper singing, and then at the very end, you hear the little kid, well, not little kid, you're not allowed to have children on stage, go maman as well. Honestly, I'm looking forward to France doing pretty well, maybe top 10. Win? Yeah, probably not, but you can't win them all. Well, that's a very ironic thing to say, considering no Eurovision country even comes close to winning them all. In fact, you'd be lucky to win 1/10 of every Eurovision Song Contest that existed. Then after France, we get a returnee to the 25th position after being there in 2014, San Marino. Welcome home, you bastards. And then we get Albania to close us out. And that's it. All 26 songs, no disqualifications, but that overall still means we have 37 songs competing in the contest. That kind of sucks. A lot of entries haven't been in the contest for a while, and I've watched a video explaining why that is. Some of it is due to LGBTQ plus stuff, take it or leave it, but a lot of it is down to finances. It's becoming kind of expensive to send an entry over. Like, you gotta pick an entry, you got to accommodate it, you got to get all this hotel fare, press stuff, advertisements, you got to find space on your Saturday night lineup to show the grand final, even if you don't qualify for the grand final. Eurovision has been kinda pay to win lately, and though the props are an obvious sign of it, it's kind of light when it comes to a lot of the work the broadcasters have to do. You would think the EBU would use one of its biggest strengths of having bigger countries subsidize a little for the smaller countries to make sure the broadcasters get in order and we have a good system in which participants can join in relatively painlessly. But no, and considering that Eurovision had been focusing a lot on growing the contest outside of Eurovision and it not doing well, maybe it should come back home and work on that a little bit more. But when I say we need to figure out how to make the contest more affordable for these broadcasters and make them more willing to enter the contest, I don't mean cheaping out on the ways that the viewers will see it. Like, we don't want too cheap an arena or too cheap props or too cheap a stage or anything like that, because if the viewers notice that you're cheaping out, then that's a problem. Less people will watch it. Admittedly, I'm not in charge of Eurovision, the Eurovision Song Contest or the EBU, but yeah, time will tell whether the contest will go back up to 38, 39, maybe even 40, or go down to 36. And I really hope that when it falls on one side of the barrier, it's not this side. Also, there were returning contestants. They're blink and you miss them. I sure did, but we have 2 returning contestants. One of which was in semifinal 2, was the singer from Montenegro. She competed as part of Who's C in 2013. No wonder I missed it. And then for Poland, we got the performer who competed in 1995. Oh, so close. But then again, I did watch the 1995 contest. I kind of forgot about Poland being in that one, but yeah. We got returning contestants. We got continuity. Okay, now time to open up the voting, is what I would say if the EBU listened to me or Eurovision listened to me and not do that thing that I told them was probably a bad idea in 2024. Yeah, I can see a point for introducing the system. You have all the performances anyway. You can draw on those and vote ahead of time. But 2 problems. One is we still don't have the grand final performances, and 2, the casual audience, they'll be voting without having an idea of what's coming up next. They don't know the entire schedule. They don't know all the acts that have performed. And by the time it comes for them to vote Sweden, they'll be going, Perkele, I ran out of votes. But yeah, it means well, and I did vote for some of the acts ahead of time, but don't feel too confident about how I voted because I don't feel too confident in my rankings, but it's too late to change the rankings because the contest already happened, and changing them from then on would be a spoiler. But yeah, here we are. Next up, we got interval acts while we wait for all the votes to come in, and we got some previous Swiss entries performing, which is kind of cool, kind of nice filler. You could go to the bathroom, yeah, sure, if you don't care about that much, but it was kind of cool to see some of the more modern entries come back and perform. And then, after that, probably one of the most fun segments I ever had in this contest. We got Karia. You know Karia came in second in 2023. And we got Baby Lasagna. You know Baby Lasagna came in second in 2024. I kind of thought after the 2024 contest, hey, wouldn't it be nice if Baby Lasagna got a little bit of care from Eurovision like Karia did? And yes, they did. They're in a rap battle with each other. Yeah, you have these 2 trading lyrics, changing tempos, changing the beat. It's quite hilarious. And this is probably the best use of the rectangular prism television that I have seen so far. You got health bars, you got overlays, 2-hit, 3-hit, 4-hit combos, level ups for some reason, although that has historically never really worked in fighting games. Unless we're talking amiibos in Smash, I guess. I just had so much fun. Like, the energy was infectious with this one. Baby Lasagna being put up there with Karia. I'm glad. I'm happy. And then afterward, we got some Euro dub, whatever. I didn't care about it that much. It's fine. But yeah, after that epic rap battle, all I could say is, who won? Who's next? You decide! Epic rap battles, epic rap battles, epic rap battles, epic rap battles, epic rap battles of history! And then after all of that, it's time for Nemo to show us their latest song. Honestly, I didn't care about this as much as the epic rap battle, but it's fine. It's pretty decent. You gotta have the winner up on stage after each contest perform their latest song. It's tradition. And with that, we close the voting. We're gonna be counting the public votes ahead of the jury votes. But this is where I'm going to split it in half. Next time, we're going to talk about the jury points and the televote points and all the other miscellaneous awards like Marcel Benson and OGAE and Eurovision and all the rest of the world and semi-final qualifiers. I just have a feeling this video is going to be long enough as it is, and I had to record this video twice already. So, yeah, I'd like to save up a little bit on this. Plus, I kind of sort of forgot how the rankings go. My memory's kind of fuzzy on that. Everything was just a blur. That makes it a good opportunity for us to take a look together. Do the feedback thing, like, comment, subscribe, or dislike, because that was totally not an excuse for me to return my computer back to a power socket because it's about to run out of juice. I'll see you next time. Hasta la sintonía, which for you ice guys, that means until next broadcast. Kinda sorta, I had to smudge things up a little bit.